All right, we are gonna do some evaporating, maple sugaring today. I wanted to go over this evaporator that we made. It's just an old 55-gallon drum that we have a door on it to load wood. And on the back side we got a little, I don't know if you can see it, hopefully, yeah, a little flue, and then a chimney. And inside I just welded up some angle iron. Don't laugh at my welds, I'm not a professional welder, but it's held together. Inside the barrel we've got some fire brick so that the bottom of the barrel doesn't burn out on us, and kind of sends the heat up towards the evaporator. And the evaporator we have sitting over here on top of the buckets. And this is a 16 by 30 by 9.5 inch evaporator. We'll get that on and cleaned out, and then we'll start a fire and get the sap. All these buckets here are filled with sap right now. We haven't collected today, so we'll go in the woods and collect the sap and start boiling it down. All right, so we're out here collecting sap. Ren, you can do the next one. Ember's gonna grab the bucket of sap and pour it in. Look at all that sap.
Next one, sweetie. Oh, look at all that
Oh,
sap.
yeah.
Nice job. American, let's hang it. Can you hang it back up?
A little bit of bark and bugs in there, but that's why we filter it. And so Phoebe's gonna hang it back up. All these taps are on the south side of these trees. These are all maples, obviously. We're doing maple syrup, but maple syrup season is almost over here. And we're gonna move on to birch as soon as this is done. That'll probably start in a couple weeks. All right, so you're probably wondering, how do we know what's a maple tree and what's not when there's no leaves? One way is the bark, but probably the easier way, the way that we tell, is we go by the buds. So let's see if I can find a couple examples. So here's a small maple. Right here you can tell those buds. See how there's two, they're opposing each other? That's a pretty sure sign that that's a maple. There aren't very many hardwoods that have opposing branches like that. So a lot of times what you'll find is something that has different buds. So if you look at this is an oak tree, and you get one and there's no bud opposing. It's up a little bit, and then look at all the buds up here. Let's see if I can zoom in there.
Did we do this one already?
They're not opposite each other. That's a pretty sure sign that that's not a maple. So you just go through and hike through the woods until you find enough trees. Right now we've got about 20 buckets out there. You can see a couple out in this wood.
When this one's really heavy, okay? You can do the next one if it has less, okay?
Maybe she could help you. There you go, working together.
Hi, my name's Emble.
What's your name?
Ren, what's your name? Tell us. I am Ren. Emble.
Are you shy? You ready?
Yeah. Time to filter.
Can I dump this? Can I
Yeah.
dump some?
Hammer.
Can I see how much bugs are in there?
There are a lot of bugs. Bark. Did a good job filtering it, although there's some hair in there. Looks like it's mostly water.
No, this is it's weird. The trees on this side are way more orange for some reason. I don't know what it is.
What'd they say? Oh, the spiders are climbing up at me. You wanted to come see the bugs, didn't
You
you?
getting some sap to drink?
The buckle broke. We can take some.
Is it yummy?
See all the bugs.
What What does it taste like?
There's spiders climbing out up at us.
Sweet. And it looks like it smells and it tastes like sap.
Yes, it
Do you want
does.
to taste some, Ren? Thank you, Ember. Oh, it's getting chilly. Let's go get your jacket on and your boots, sweetie.
And it's starting up. All right, so we got about 15 gallons in there. We're gonna start the fire, and once we get that, boiling, we'll add a little bit at a time to keep the boil going. We've got another 20 gallons or so to go. So we'll start the fire, and then we'll get boiling. All right, fire is roaring, and we got a good boil going on here. I don't know if you can even see it through the steam. Yeah, you can see some of it there. All right, so you can see on this side there are two spouts. The stove is actually slanted down a little bit towards the spout, so that as it starts evaporating, we can get close to the temperature and then pour it off the spout into our finishing pot. Yes? He's saying cheese. What are we making, Ren?
Fire.
Yep. We're making syrup. We got the fire going. Nice barrel stove and nice good boil going. Started with about 15 gallons in there, and it's probably reduced by about half by now. Going pretty good. All right, kind of neglected the fire over here, and it started to go out. I got it stocked up because there's only coals left. But what happens is you lose your boil. Oh. But as you can tell, there's not a whole lot of that sap left, and it's getting a lot more like maple syrup. Boy, I wish you could be here to smell it. It is just, oh, here, I'll waft it towards you. Whoa, that smells good. It smells like a sap house, even outside. It is wonderful. Let me tell you, if we took a cup of that right now, whoo-wee, pretty much be all syrup. It is delicious stuff, but hopefully we'll get that boil back and finish this. And I guess we haven't talked about what finishing means. So when you're doing syrup and you're boiling it down, as it gets more and more thick with sugar and all the water evaporates, you know it's syrup when it's 7 degrees above boiling of water for whatever elevation you're at. So I checked here, we're pretty much at sea level, so boils at 212 degrees. So what we're looking for is 219. Now I don't want to bring it to 219 in this thing because we're likely to go over that because we have almost no control with this, barrel fire. So once we get close, we'll get like, I don't know, 216, 217, and then we'll pour it off into our finishing can. We'll actually use this propane burner over here. You can see the last batch that we did. We got it in that small bucket, and then we'll finish it off to the last point there, and then we'll filter it directly into the bottles, seal it up, and we'll have syrup for the year here on the farm.
Ready to do it?
Okay, let's check it again. Right, Ember?
Yeah, right.
He's like, we're
Okay.
super close. It's either 2, 5, 20, or 11 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, glove this time. I've learned a lot. All right, 217, 218, 219. I think we're there. Okay, so that means we're going to turn it off the boil and we're going to start bottling it. We got our bottling station over here set up.
Here.
We got a funnel and some little 5-ounce bottles, and we're going to pour see how this turns out. We'll see if I can set you up so that you can watch. All right, so you can see what's left. This started as 15 gallons, if you remember, and that's what we have for syrup. Approximately 40 to 1.
That's a teensy beensy bit of it.
I know. Let's see if I can video this while I'm
Okay,
pouring.
I hope I don't get it.
Keep moving it around.
Oh,
It's bubbling out, huh?
yeah.
At least I got some of it.
Trying to do it very controlled.
I have my bottle right here just in case.
Okay, that's probably good.
All right,
That's
one
hot.
bottle done. I'm gonna put the video down for the rest because that was hard.